Hello everyone and welcome to Chat with Nene Alice. If this is your first time tuning into this channel, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to send your comment. And also don't forget to hit the bell button so that you'll be the first person to know whenever I post any new video. For International Women's Day. And International Women's Day is just around the corner. It's on the 8th of March. And this year we are looking at women in leadership during the COVID response. So we are talking about issues around women and issues around COVID-19. So in the last edition, we spoke about, COVID response and how that has affected us, not only us in Sierra Leone, but other countries that are around us, our neighbors, and how we have had lots of cases on COVID and how COVID has devastated livelihoods for women in Sierra Leone. So today I want us to, just continue with this conversation and, look at the issue around women leadership and decision-making, particularly during the COVID response. Okay? We know that during crises like this, there should be inclusive leadership at all levels, local, national, and the global levels, so that as people, come up with new ideas, it improves the way we respond to a crisis, and it also makes us prepared for eventualities, particularly in low-income economy like Sierra Leone. And we should also be able to, to know that whatever programs we plan, there should be gender-inclusive responses, including engaging women at the front line, women's group, networks, and women in all decision-making and policy spaces, so that we improve on the health security system, our surveillance system, the detection process, and even our prevention mechanism. Okay? In 2019, the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board called for the involvement of more women, yet we still notice that recent emergencies demonstrate that there has been little women's voices in the way we respond to the COVID-19 emergency. And I just want to take us back. We remember when we had Ebola, how women in Sierra Leone suffered. And women in Sierra Leone have multiple vulnerabilities, particularly as it relates to health issues and as it relates to our economic status. Even though we do not have enough data to support this, but we can tell that the burden placed on the shoulders of women by Ebola and how women suffered during that time, we are afraid that this might be worsening even with COVID-19. We already know how lockdown conditions has affected our children from going to school. Schools were closed and we are struggling with homeschooling and how we can take our children to the various, through their academic pursuits. And we know that that has been challenging for us because considering the literacy level in Sierra Leone, how that has been challenging for parents who do not have skills, in taking their children to the various, courses that their children are offering. We also know that there has been domestic tensions rising among families, particularly if you are confined in a cramped home. And we know that Sierra Leone shelter is a serious problem. People are living in makeshift accommodation. And you can imagine when all of us are cramped in those, small homes, for days in lockdowns, or we find confined to our homes, we cannot move out. How that can, create challenges for increased cases in violation and also for challenges in health as well. The issue of public transport is also something that has become challenging, and the challenges are also very enormous for women. Okay, so if we draw from previous, experience from disaster outbreak, particularly the Ebola one, we know that women are less likely than men to have power in decision making around the outbreak and, even responding to their specific needs. And this has resulted in health needs being unmet, particularly when it comes to women. So as we continue this conversation, I want us to, open the space so that we have more women engaging the conversation, more women taking part in decision making. Because when we tend to undermine a multilateral system, it will have a negative impact on women and on their position in society. Despite the lessons and the recommendations that decision-making bodies have established. So we want this particular one to be very balanced, because I know from documents that I have read that in January 2020 on the global stage, 7 women were invited to join the 21-member WHO Emergency Committee on COVID-19. That's a plus, even though it's not a 50-50 one, but at least 7 women were invited to be there. And we also know that the WHO most recent decision to appoint Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf and Ellen Clark to lead the independent panel for pandemic preparedness and response is also very encouraging, because it's promotion of women in leadership, in health and conflict safety. So given the experiences of these women, I know that there will be more discussion around women's health, women's shelter, and all the host of other things that are affecting women. We want to begin to, challenge those traditional hierarchy of knowledge and power, so that our own, input into, vital conversations like this cannot go unrecognized. We too can be able to, recognize strong women who will be able to make meaningful contribution as we respond to COVID. And we know that experiences have shown that a systematic and intentional gender lens should be given more consideration, particularly at local level, national level, global, and even the global response. When I talk about gender lens, it means we should be talking about women in whatever conversation we are having. Budgets should be gender responsive, and programs should be, gender balanced, so that everyone can benefit from the response, and we can all contribute to reduce the infection rate, and continue to create an enabling environment so that we all can be resilient and we are able to recover. So this is where I will stop when it comes to women and leadership conversation, and we'll continue with the conversation as we continue with the countdown to International Women's Day. So if this is your first time tuning into this channel, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to drop your comments, because together, all of us